Greetings everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and hard rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back with the series I've been running for the last week called the Hard Rock 7. I've done 7 episodes that features 7 hard rock bands that I consider to be the pinnacle, the essential hard rock bands of rock history. My qualifications for this is, first, I had to like them. I had an issue with the Big Six that I did, in which there was one band on there I didn't know much about, but I didn't choose those Big Six. They were the definitive ones. I just commented on it, and somebody pointed out that I didn't know enough about the band to make a comment, so I shouldn't. So now I decided to make a group of 7 here that I do know about, and so I'm going to comment on them all. Not that commenting on things that I don't know anything about has been anything I've been shy of in my life, but I get the point. So anyways, we're back here with day 7, the last day of the 7, and we will also be doing an episode on honorable mentions, which will come out later today. So, what were my qualifications for choosing these 7? Well, for those of you who haven't been watching this series and have only come in on the last day, they needed to be bands I liked. They needed to be bands that I think were had great notoriety. They were well-known, famous bands, and they needed to have had some kind of influence on not only the hard rock genre, but possibly other genres as well, or music, or some particular aspect of music in general. So those were the kind of my qualifications. So what they are not is the definitive Hard Rock 7. They are not the ones that you have to accept. You know, you can accept whatever you want. These are just my opinions on it. Okay? So having said that, we will now get off to the 7th episode, which will feature a band considered by many to be the greatest in history. Not by everybody. Some people think that I'm crazy for suggesting these guys. These guys are like Jimi Hendrix. They've fallen on that time period where people think that they were overrated. But a lot of people didn't grow up, especially younger people, didn't grow up with these two this band and this artist. They were dominant and had huge impacts. And I think Led Zeppelin is the band we're doing today. They are, in my opinion, the greatest rock band in history. Not my favorite. They're not even in my group of 8. But I think that they are the greatest rock band in history for a number of reasons. They were monstrally successful and thought of well by everybody who was in the music industry at the time. Mostly dominated by the male aspect, but quite a few women like this as well. Like them as well. They also had no bad albums, all great albums. Not even okay albums, all great albums. A couple of the albums were not as great as some of the others, but still very, very good albums. They had a short run of 10 years, relatively speaking, but it was a classic era. So their classic era, 69 to 79, the whole time they were together. This album, which I held up, Led Zeppelin 4, I think is probably considered their best album. It's not my favorite. It's not actually, it's a few notches down, but I think it's because it's so many of the tracks on this album. I think 6 of them at least have been chronically played on rock radio, so much that it just burned out after a while. But such a great album, well put together, a masterpiece album in every regards. Black Dog Rock and Roll, Misty Mountain Hop, Stairway to Heaven, When the Levee Breaks, Going to California. All these tracks are fantastic songs, just fantastic. So many catchy riffs by such a great guitar player who was a virtuoso in every stretch of the word. Spawned generations and generations of guitar players trying to imitate him and trying to be like him. They were suave and sophisticated, and they had that rock and roll edge to them. That, you know, they're another band with that kind of sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing streaming through their music too. But unlike just that, they were capable of doing much more. They did do some prog stuff. They did a lot of rhythm and blues stuff. They even did an album that was almost all acoustic stuff, and from that album came the phrase that coined the phrase heavy metal. Kind of ironic, but it was. So their first album, 1969, and their best album, which was, I think, this one from 1980. No, this was from 1971 or 70. I think it was from 1970. And their last album was released in 1982, Coda. If you don't classify Coda, because Coda was kind of a collection of songs that really didn't make other albums and was put together so that so the record company could feed on the Led Zeppelin name. Maybe you think In Through the Outdoor was kind of their last album in 1979, and I wholeheartedly agree with you if you think that way. The members of the group: John Paul Jones, Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Bonham. And those are the only 4 members of the band. The band broke up after John Bonham's passing. A shock to everybody. It was to me, for sure. We didn't know what was going to happen. It was at the end of Zeppelin, and it turned out that it was. And I respect them for that, because they didn't try to make something out of nothing. They didn't try to keep going so they could keep the name going. They honored John Bonham's memory by simply not being a band anymore. Well, they all went on to do different things, but I respect them for that. Rush did the same thing when Neil Peart died. They didn't continue on. You know, the magic is gone, so let's enjoy what we remember of it. This band, Jimmy Page in particular, was an amazing guitar player, a virtuoso in every stretch of that word. Many people admired and wanted to be him. Lots of guitar players have said that he was the guitar player they followed, and this band in general was the band that they wanted to be like. This band was monstrous. They sold out venues everywhere. Everybody in my class, all of the guys anyways, loved this band. They were well thought of and well liked, and most considered the greatest band in the world at the time. Are they the greatest of all time? I think they are, but I've been told that I'm wrong. Nobody's shy about that. That's fine. I can deal with it. This is a band that could have went on for decades more, for sure, and who knows what their legacy would be now. But even though it was a short run of 10 years, they had a huge impact, and I think they deserve to be in this list for that impact. Some people would say they are more bluesy oriented. Some might say that they had too much classical sound to their music, or that they had a progressive sound with the keyboards that they used on occasions. They even had a song that was kind of a rockabilly song, Hot Dog, right? So, yeah, but I always will remember them for those heavier tunes like Rock and Roll and Black Dog and Whole Lotta Love and The Immigrant Song and Carousel Alhambra. There's another great tune. Yeah, just like some really, really heavy stuff from them. I don't think they were a metal band that some people like to label them as. I don't think they were heavy enough to be a metal band. Not in the strictest sense. They weren't as heavy as Black Sabbath, and sometimes I wonder if they were a metal band too. But anyways, Led Zeppelin, one of the great, great hard rock bands of all times, and one of my favorite bands to listen to, and I think they deserve to be here today. So if you've got any comments about this album or Led Zeppelin or the members of Led Zeppelin or their legacy or anything, you can put that in the comment section below. And I hope you've enjoyed this series as much as I've enjoyed doing it. It took a little bit putting it together, but I kind of like doing these mini series because I can put all my focus into it for a short period of time and really discuss the things I love the most, which is this. So please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated, and we'll be back later tonight with the honorable mentions. So take care. Bye.